The comedy4cast network. Let's dog ear this for now.
comedy4cast, episode 358. A little help from my friends.
comedy4cast is powered by its patrons. To support the show and get episodes before everyone else, visit patreon.com and search for comedy4cast. All one word with the number 4. Or just go to comedy4cast.com and click on the Patreon link on the right-hand side of the page.
In this episode, we dig way into the comedy4cast vault to hear from over a dozen podcasters. Come on, let's get to the forecast.
Item 1 of 4.
Hi folks, Clinton here. Welcome to or welcome back to comedy4cast. Well, the craziness of preparing for the live DragonCon show has begun. Just like last year, comedy4cast will team up with Chuck Tomasi and Craig Stepp from Technorama, as well as John Bell from Bells and the Bat Free, for an hour of pure insanity. If you're going to DragonCon, I urge you not to miss this one. In fact, mark your calendar now. The show will be Friday, September 4th at 5:30 p.m. in room 203 of the Atlanta Hilton. That's the main podcasting track room. For a full list of comedy4cast DragonCon activities, including the live Pizza Friday meetup at 2:30 on Friday, just head over to comedy4cast and look for the post about DragonCon. With all this planning, I need to take a break from producing a regular episode. I didn't want to leave you with no content at all. That would be rude. And so this special episode will be one of those infamous clip shows. But I wanted to have a theme to pull everything together. So, in keeping with the spirit of fellowship of podcasting and the vibe of the DragonCon podcasting track, each of these skits involves several fellow podcasters. These are classic routines, all recorded prior to 2009. Before each bit, I will give you the original episode number and air date in case you want to refer back to the episode. So, to recap, I hope to see you at the live DragonCon show and enjoy these classic routines.
Item 2 of 4.
This is from episode 62, released way back on April 18th, 2006. It features several members of the old New England podcasting group, plus a few surprise guests. Enjoy. Hi, this is Clinton. Recently, I had another chance to meet up with some of my fellow New England podcasters. I asked them to read some of the listener email we receive here at comedy4cast so I could reply.
Hi, I'm Chris from the Financial Aid Podcast. Charles writes in to ask how many people actually listen to the comedy4cast.
Well, Charles, like any good podcaster, I trust my handy stats page to give me that kind of information. So let's see, where are people listening from? Here are some from the United States. Well, there's about 270 million people in the U.S. And Canada, another 30 million. Oh, and look, China. That's about 1.5 billion. Okay, so it looks like I have about 2.9 billion listeners. Gee, you'd think I'd have some sponsors with numbers like that.
This is Steve Runner from Fidipidations. Kim wrote in and asked, where do you get your ideas for your skits? Do you have comedy elves?
No, Kim, there are no such things as comedy elves. The drama leprechauns told me so. But you're right, I don't come up with my own ideas. I actually have Scott Johnson from Extra Life Radio locked up in the basement working on concepts. Let's see how he's doing. Hey, Johnson, what have you got?
Here's another idea, sir. It's about a webcomic artist locked in a basement working up ideas for another podcaster's show.
No one's gonna buy a crazy premise like that. No video gaming for you. Now back to work.
Could you at least let me check in over at myextralife.com?
No need for that. I'm about to put your domain name up for sale on eBay.
Did you hear that, Fidget? He's stealing our gags, too. Wait till Dr. Floyd hears about this. Quick, fidget, browse over to drfloyd.com. Yes, spell out doctor. And quick, before someone realizes that we're part of this skit full of obvious self-promotion.
I'm Kristen from the Manic Mommies podcast. Christy wants to know, is it possible to grow vegetables on Mars?
The good news is that yes, you can grow vegetables on Mars. The bad news is that the vegetables are asparagus and Brussels sprouts. But the good news is when you're stuck on Mars, you'll eat anything. Of course, the bad news is you'll still need water to grow the plants. Good news, there is water on Mars. Bad news, it's hard to get. The good news is you can bring water to Mars, but of course the bad news is you need a garden hose that's 35 million miles long. Good news, you can buy one of those at Home Depot. Bad news, it costs $108 million. And the good news is that the government will actually pay you to not grow your crop so you can afford the hose that you no longer need to grow the vegetables that you don't want to eat on Mars.
Hey, this is CC Chapman from Accident Hash. Flores sent this email question. Where do you see podcasting headed in the next 3 years?
I don't have to guess about this one. Because to answer your question, I actually went out and bought a time machine. Let me grab my wireless microphone and step inside. Okay, let's read the instructions here. Congratulations on your purchase of the Virtuo 7000, the world's first manufactured real-time time machine. To operate, simply sit in the chair and be amazed as time passes before your eyes in real time. Great! It looks like this is going to take about 3 years, so be sure to check back then for the answer. In the meantime, if you have any questions that you want to send in, just email them to comedy4cast@gmail.com or call them into the Comedy 4Cast listener line at area code
360-515-0004.
Man, I should have brought a sandwich or something.
Item 3 of 4.
Here's episode 98, released on January 18th, 2007. This routine was the result of my meeting several podcasters who were involved with the Pickle Tales Podcast Challenge. I was so inspired by their work that I asked them to be part of a sketch I wrote. To my delight, they were all up for it. The other day I was hanging around with some fellow podcasters and they were all telling jokes. Well, I don't tell jokes. Something always seems to go wrong. Don't believe me? Go ahead, have a listen.
Oh, you're right. And then he shoots him.
Good one, Lawrence. Clinton, your turn.
Yeah, you're the comedian. Tell us a joke.
Well, I don't really tell jokes, Phil.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, come on, tell us a joke.
Okay. So, this guy goes to the doctor complaining about headaches, bulging eyes, shortness of breath, and fainting spells. The doctor examines him and says, "Well, I've only seen 1 or 2 cases like this before, and I'm afraid it has always been fatal." "Oh my gosh! Tell me the truth, Doc," the guy says. "How much time do I have?" 3 weeks, a month, tops. Well, at first the guy is devastated, of course. He mopes around, quits his job, gives away all his stuff. And then he figures, what the heck? If I'm going out in style. He applies for a bunch of credit cards. After all, he's not going to be around to pay the bills, right? He has a fancy car custom built for him, moves into a luxury condominium. Then he goes on a shopping spree in the city. He buys a fancy walking cane, hat, shoes. Then he goes to the most expensive tailor in town to have some clothes made. The tailor's taking the measurements and says, "All right, let's see. Okay, so collar, 15.5 inch. "No," the guy says, "I take a 14.5 inch collar. "Look, who's the expert here, Mr. Fancy Pants? It's a 15.5. "I'm telling you, I always wear a 14.5 inch collar. All right, says the tailor. "I'll make you a 14.5 collar. But you listen, If you wear a collar that small, you're going to have headaches, your eyes are going to go bulge, and it's going to be so hard to breathe you'll be fainting all over the place.
And then what?
Well, that's it, Tony. You see, the shirt collar size was causing the problem. That's what makes it funny.
There's nothing funny about death, my friend.
Or bankruptcy.
I think you're reading too much.
Yeah, I mean, think of all the bills that guy must have racked up.
Yeah, and he quits his day job. So that's not going to help things any.
Oh, man. I didn't even think of that, Kimberly. What a bummer.
Wait a minute. If he quit his job, how the hell did he get all that credit so fast?
Well, I'm not sure.
Yeah, on top of a new car loan.
Right on, Will. And why would he go out and custom order a car?
You don't need to worry.
Didn't you say he only had a month to live? Why didn't he just take one off the lot, drive it now, worry about it later?
Never mind that. I want to know more about the doctor, dude. I mean, how did he come up with that diagnosis so fast?
You know, Zephyr makes a good point. Besides, why didn't the guy get a second opinion? I know I would.
And wouldn't the guy need to take off his shirt for an exam? The symptoms would have disappeared right then and there.
Right. I think there's a lawsuit hiding in there.
By the way, Clint, could you have used a more cliche set of accents? A German doctor and a Jewish tailor? Come on.
Yeah, that was pretty lame.
You know, we never really got the chance to know a lot about this guy. Does he have a family?
Pets?
Is he an important personality in the community?
We don't even know his name. He's just this guy.
Is that some kind of statement about the anonymous nature of today's society?
Where did this doctor go to medical school anyway?
Yeah, and does he get cable? I mean, that could make an important difference.
Forget it. Does this guy sleep naked
in this situation?
Does he like hard-boiled eggs in the morning?
See? This is why I don't tell jokes.
Cut to the chase. He could have spent all his money on her.
Yeah.
Why was that doctor?
Just get this
I
out
know a
of
lot more
Just say the
Jewish doctors
punchline,
than
that's
I know
it.
German.
I agree.
Item 4 of 4.
And last, but certainly not least, episode 150, released on September 18th, 2008. This was a parody of several Disney podcasts, and the twist is that the actual hosts of the shows are doing the voices. This is what makes podcasting great. Enjoy.
To all who come to this happy place.
Yeah, welcome. We've heard it a few times already, Walt. Listen, this is a podcast, and I think I have some expertise in this area.
I think it'd be appropriate if you take over, sir.
Well, thank you. This is episode 55 of Let's Lounge with Walt's Mice above Big D's Magic Radio for Tuesday, July 32nd. Brought to you by Orlando Distractions Magazine.
When you visit the Orlando theme parks, do you feel completely disoriented? Does your common sense head off to buy a churro while you find yourself wandering aimlessly around Pooh's Playful Spot? And do you miss that befuddled feeling when you're not in the parks? Then Orlando Distractions Magazine is for you. Each issue is filled with bright colors, fold-out maps with incomprehensible keys, and simple articles that build themselves as rich, immersive storytelling experiences. As a bonus, each edition of Orlando Distractions Magazine comes with a shiny object, like a piece of aluminum foil or a marble, meant to distract you even more. And remember, every article has one paragraph in English, followed by a paragraph in Spanish, so permanecer sentados, por favor, and subscribe to Orlando Distractions Magazine.
First up this week, it's time to check in with our favorite Two-Finger Point cast member Skipper Bob, and his friend Rexy.
Thanks! Hey there, everybody. Sorry I wasn't here last week. I was having too much fun at Islands of Adventure. I mean Downtown Disney. Yeah, that's it. Okay, Rexy, what have we got?
All right, cast member Skipper Bob. We have an email from Carly in Indiana. Carly writes, Dear cast member Skipper Bob, I will be taking our family to Walt Disney World in October. However, we will be on a very tight budget. Can you give me some tips on how to save money? How about it, cast member Skipper Bob?
Well, Carly, I'm going to let you in on the best secret I know. What you want to do is book yourself into the cheapest on-property resort you can find. Something like the All-Star Trailer Park or the Pop Century Yard Sale Resort. Next, when you get to Orlando, make sure the kids see you drive under that big Walt Disney World sign. That's very important. Then head right to your hotel. You'll have a pool, a video arcade, a gift shop, and a cafeteria where you can get a refillable mug. Yep, your kids can suck down more Coca-Cola in 1 week than the entire population of New Zealand drinks in a year, all for just $15. So, now that you've arrived at the resort, relax and spend the rest of the vacation right there at the hotel. If you're lucky, your kids won't know the difference. Let's face it, most kids only remember the hotel pool from a vacation anyway, so why waste thousands on theme park tickets? Heck, you can even buy postcards right there in the gift shop and mail them to the folks back home. Spending a great week here at Disney World. You're the only one who needs to know the truth.
All right, very cool. Well, thanks again, cast member Skipper Bob.
Hey, no problem. Hey, do you know if Universal City Walk is open late tonight?
Yikes. Looks like we'll soon be able to find cast member Skipper Bob in the queue at the unemployment office. Next up, let's check in with Greg McNaughty for his weekly review of a Disneyland attraction.
Mickey Mouse Together report card. The tram ride from the Mickey and Friends parking structure to the Esplanade at Disneyland. Often overlooked and for good reason, this attraction is the way you'll probably begin and end your day at Disneyland. The ride starts off with a false sense of entitlement since you can choose the boarding row for the tram. Good luck trying that when you get to Space Mountain. Once on board the tram, you are subjected to a mind-numbing views of fences, plants, walkways, and the backside of buildings. All at a blistering top speed of 14 miles per hour. Whoopee! Now let's not forget the narration that's as uninformative as it is monotone. Disney's California Adventure is open until 9 p.m. Yeah, right. As if anybody cares. The attraction ends with a whimper as you coast to a stop and exit the ride vehicle, bumping your head on the low ceiling for good measure. Worst of all, you have to get off the ride before it makes a complete circle, stranding you at either the parking lot or, even worse, at downtown Disney. Are you kidding? I rate this attraction a Mickey Mouse Together A ticket, which sounds good, except the best is actually an E ticket. So this ride stinks. Sources for this report include complaints at Disneyland City Hall and my own experiences, which include complaining at City Hall.
Thank you, Greg. That's one attraction I'll be sure to miss on my next visit. We like to keep you well informed here on Let's Lounge with Walt's Mice above Big B's Magic Radio. So now we'll turn to our good friend Gary for some Disney news.
With Mouse Bar Mojito in hand, I'm Gary Foyer with news from around the wonderful world of Disney. Hot on the heels of news that Disney is introducing characters like Mickey Mouse into It's a Small World, comes word that cartoon characters will be inserted into another beloved attraction, the Hall of Presidents. Imagineers plan to place the cartoon characters in amongst the presidents. Disney says this won't interfere with the integrity of the show, and most parkgoers will never notice the difference. If the characters are Goofy, Dumbo, and Dopey, we tend to agree.
Thanks, Gary. I know a lot of people are concerned about that kind of thing. But not me. Those audio animatronics are so amazing, I'm thinking of replacing myself with one. Now on to our last segment of the week. Take it away, Paul.
Well, hello everyone. I am your host, Paul Bailey, and this is the Peephole to the Magic section of the show. This is where you get to bury yourself up to your neck in the magic. Just this past week, I was out at the Disneyland Resort and had the opportunity to ride the new attraction, Toy Story Carnival Catastrophe. As amazing as the ride is, the real star of the show is Mr. Tomato Head, a 6-foot-tall audio animatronic that serves as a barker, enticing people to ride the attraction. In addition to the fact that Mr. Tomato Head can pinch himself to see if he's ripe, he can also talk to the crowd. Here's some of that audio.
Thank you. Hey, look, a standing ovation. You shouldn't have.
But what happens when Mr. Tomato Head breaks down? Fortunately, I was there and recording when it happened.
Hurry, hurry, hurry. Right this way.
There are many people that are planted around here to look like they enjoy this. I don't know who you are in the middle, but you're starting to get on my nerves.
You stop crying. What the hell's the matter with you?
Step right up and see what's inside.
Wow. Just wow. Back to you in the studio.
See? Audio animatronics rule. They're like Cylons. And someday they'll turn on us. I think that's going to wrap it up for this week. Remember to click on the PayPal button on the homepage to make a donation. Daddy needs a new annual pass. And well, who could that be?
Hey.
Why, it's Lou Monte Cristo.
How come my show isn't in this episode? You know, the WDW Ham Radio Show. Your Walt Disney World information post-it note.
Next time, Lou. Next time.
Well, can I at least do the outro? I have a great inspirational thought.
Sure.
This is Lou reminding you that life is a banquet. But you need to make advanced dining reservations at least 180 days ahead of time or you'll never get a table.
Word.
See ya.
Very special thanks to podcasters Ricky Briganti of Inside the Magic, Lou and Bob from Beyond Main Street, Greg McNaughton of Imagineering My Way, Gary Chambers from The Mouse Lounge, Paul Barry from A Window to the Magic, and Lou Mongello from the WDW Radio Show.
My goodness, look at the time.
Oh, is it that time already, Sir Patrick?
Let's wrap this up, shall we?
Right, okay. Well, if you have any comments about this episode, why not call the super secret phone line at area code 360-515-0004. The phone not your thing? That's okay. Drop us an email at comedy4cast, all one word with the number 4, @gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and you can find all the episodes at comedy4cast.com. You can also subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever else fine podcasts are listed.
As always, this is Sir Patrick Stewart.
And I'm Clinton.
Saying, that's it. We're done.
Bye-bye.